Alrighty, and we're back. Sorry for the little couple weeks off. Kyle took a lot of vacation this summer, so we had to stop the podcast. He went all over the world. So,
That's right, I
anyways,
did. That's how I
yeah,
live my life.
didn't you do like 5 vacations or something crazy in the past like 5 weeks or something?
No, that was you, Blake.
Oh, that's right. Sorry about that. All right. So, one of those vacations, though, Kyle and I actually were together. We went to Vegas together. It was a very, very good time.
It was a good time.
We read, how many books did we read? Like 3 books?
There?
Yeah. Remember?
Yeah, we read some books.
Yeah, the
I
books.
read I think I read on the plane like what to do if a plane crashed and then the beverage menu on the plane. That's about it. I
Anyways,
don't know about you.
we're back. Real estate in different states. Here we go. Okay. I think we're just gonna continue on from where we were a couple weeks back. Um, but I guess a lot of people who tune in, hopefully a lot of people who tune in, maybe the one person who tunes in, but people who are trying to learn how to get into flipping or just getting into real estate in general. So what I want to ask you, Kyle, since you are the professional flipper here, do it for full-time living, is how do you know if it is a good property to flip? What attracts you to a property and what makes you say no to another property? How do you determine that?
Um, well, I think the first thing I kind of look at, especially with a new market, I know like interest rates went up and it kind of changed how quickly you can sell properties, but I think the one of the things I look at, not the only thing, but I like to be able to resell the house for less than 300,000 just because in our market I feel like the houses sell faster at that price point. So if it's above that, then I take a look at a few other things. But that's my kind of my bread and butter, 300,000 or below resale value.
I completely agree because even down here, that's your kind of everyone market. First time home buyer, second time home buyer, retiree, anyone could be in that price range. So that's gonna
Yeah,
yeah, completely agree.
for sure. Yeah, and here we have a big military market. So it's all VA. So you got to look at what their BAH is, what they're getting paid, which BAH is basic housing allowance,
Yeah.
and it's what they get paid, to afford a home. So, if you got to think about your primary market, if you're selling a house that's higher than that, chances are it might sit on the market a little bit longer or have a harder time finding a buyer. But that's not the only thing I look at. So, used to a couple of years ago, 2, 3 years ago, they had what they call like a something called a Mayo or max allowable offer. That was like the thing everybody wanted to have. And what that is just a simple math equation. So you take the ARV or after repair value, what it's worth after you fix it up, times zero point 0.7 minus your rehab costs. And that was your goal to stay at, right? And it was always hard to get that. Unless you're direct to seller, meaning you're buying it directly from the seller, you've marketed it yourself, then that's the only way you could get that. Usually, like I've said in the past, I'm not really doing much marketing, so I'm buying from wholesalers, so they're buying it near that, if below that. So whenever it gets passed on to me, I'm always above that. Which it's harder to get that now because it's so competitive too. Clarksville has always been a hot market. Um, But basically, I mean, knowing that I can't always get that, I try to at least be at 0.75 or even zero point 0.8. But the way I supplement that is I will do some of the repairs internally, meaning I won't go hire like another contractor to handle a lot of them. Like if I have to, I'll go paint the house myself. I'll do, whatever to save some money. Um, But I mean, that's pretty much it. It really just comes down to the numbers. That's what determines a good deal. I mean, at the end of the day, and yeah, and location too.
Location. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I've read, shoot, I don't even know, at least 2, maybe 3 books on how to flip, and it gives you all these. calculations on how much is a kitchen probably going to cost and how much is this probably going to cost. And you should
Mm,
always say all of them say that exact same thing, the 70% of your AVR, right? And
yeah.
if you go to Bigger Pockets or any of that stuff, they all say the same thing. But that is truly extremely, extremely hard in today's market. I mean, it just really doesn't happen, especially after 2020, 2021. Everyone thinks their house is worth much more than it probably is. And this is my
Yeah.
opinion, but everyone sees their house as much more than it probably is worth. Even people who are ready to get rid of their house or in foreclosure or anything like that. So it's just really hard to stay under that 70% mark these days. And I never have either. But so
Yeah.
speaking of your contractors, how did you come up with how did you come up with your team? Or you want to get back to how do you get property or not?
Yeah, I had some more things to say about it, find a good
Take it over.
deal. Um, well, another thing that I try to look for, well, like we talked about the market, like now is a different time than 2 years ago, which is also a good thing because you can now today you can find deals at 70% or below. I just flipped a house second one ago, second no, maybe my last. It was that one, but I bought that house. It was listed on the MLS. Um, and I offered 25 grand less than what it was listed for, and that was at the 70% rule, and they accepted it. And it's a funny story because I wasn't gonna offer because I was like, man, I'm not gonna offer because I'm offering so low. They're not gonna accept it. It had only been on the market 10 days. It was an obvious like investor home, like someone's gonna buy this and rent it out or flip it. But they had it listed pretty high, and I was like, well, I can't pay that much for it, so I was gonna pass. And then 4 days later, the agent texts me. No, she called me or texted me, doesn't matter. But she was like, hey, I just want to get some feedback on the house that you showed. And I was like, oh, I actually was looking at it for myself. I was gonna try to flip it, but I couldn't make the numbers work. And she was like, okay, what would you offer? And I was like, I'd offer 135, and it was listed for like 159 or something. And she was like, I think we can make that work. I was like, okay, well, let's do it then. And we made it work at 135, and it was awesome. Like we flipped it. It's honestly one of the smoothest transactions I've had. Made a decent amount of money. It was fine. But that just goes to show, number one, you miss all the shots you don't take. And I've done that so many times. I've had so many houses I've looked at and I haven't made an offer because I was like, well, number one, I feel kind of embarrassed offering super low. I feel like I'm insulting somebody, but if you don't make the offer, the answer is always no every time. So that was a lesson I learned right there. So you can find those at 70% nowadays. You just have to don't be scared to offer that if that's what you're wanting. Because right now interest rates are higher, so those homes are sitting a little bit longer. And then the other thing I like to look at too to make a good deal. So sometimes you can go find like a 3 bed, 1 bath, right? That may be kind of pricey, but if you can find a value add opportunity in that, where you can turn that to a 3-2 or add a bedroom or whatever, and you can find a way to make extra money, then you can kind of change your numbers a little bit. Um, but that's just kind of what I kind of look for. Value adds and it's not being afraid to find deals on the MLS, especially now.
Well, I'm just impressed that you couldn't remember if it was 1 or 2 deals ago. That means that you're doing pretty good.
No, I'm not doing that.
So, when you're buying these properties, do you typically do an inspection? Because I know typically on a normal purchase, there's 30-day contract, normal option period, or inspection period, whatever you want to call it. It's typically 7 to 10 days, and you get your inspector out there, check out everything, see if it's worth it or not. Do you do that?
Typically, I don't. Um, and the reason I don't is because usually Well, either A, I'm buying a deal from a wholesaler or even direct to seller. I mean, usually these people that you're buying these houses from are already selling at a discounted price, and they're expecting an as is, usually a cash offer from a seller standpoint, because they're in a distressed situation. Like they don't have time to be messing around with inspections or showings, anything like that. They just want the money and they want to be done. And then if I'm buying it from a wholesaler, they're not going to accept an offer with contingencies anyway. They probably have a couple other offers without inspection. So if you're coming to them with a contingency, the answer is going to be no. Um, and then if I am buying a house on the MLS or it's listed anywhere else, I mean, I'm probably already offering less than asking. So to make my offer more competitive, um, I do not get a home inspection. Now, I do go see the house. I don't buy houses sight unseen. That's one thing I don't do. So I'll go in the house and I'll look at pretty much everything. Like I'm bad about not going in the attic and in the crawl space. Thank God it hasn't gotten me yet. But most of the time, I just don't want. I don't have a flashlight with me, and I'm like,
You
a
don't
lot
want
of
to get
times I go see
dirty.
these houses, I'm not prepared. It's like,
Don't blame it on the flashlight. You don't want to get dirty.
no, sometimes sometimes I'm not ready to go see a house. It's like I get a call, like, hey, do you want to go look at this house, or are you interested? I'm like, yeah, I'm interested, and I'm like, I'm not in a position. What I should do is keep it in my truck, but you should look at the whole house. So I try to do my own visual inspection. One thing I always do is I'll look at the roof. I'll look at the ridge line at the top of the roof, make sure it's straight, make sure it doesn't do like that. I'll go around the whole house. I'll look at the brick. If there's cracks in it, minor cracks are okay, but if there's like big, cracks that go through bricks and then shoot this way and go through, I stay away. I don't, it's like a no-go. But I'll walk through it. I mean, usually the houses you're looking at need work, so you're not surprised to see like, major things wrong. Like, sometimes the floor is messed up. Doesn't mean it's a foundation issue. It's probably a joist could be broken. It's not a huge deal. Um, but I'll just look at the house and I'll be like, I'll just get a clear understanding of what I think is wrong with it. And sometimes that's not always right. Sometimes there's a lot more wrong than that. But I just try to do my own little inspection, while I'm there.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that because that brought me up to two more questions. One, um, okay, so you said usually it doesn't lead to a big problem. Have you ever had a huge problem where you're like, this is way over my head. I should not have bought this house?
Huh. Um, had a couple potential issues. They worked out though, but I mean, one of them was just it was a flip I did. It was a partner I had, and we did it. And this crawl space was so low to the ground, like you can't even get under it. You can't even inspect it, right? It's impossible. Well, the buyer's inspector said something was wrong with the foundation, right? Which, luckily for us, the buyer was just like, I don't care what's wrong with it. I love the house, and they bought it. So that was fine, not a big deal. But I just had another house I did in the past 3 or 4 months where the septic they said was messed up. Which so this was a house in it was like close to Kentucky border. It was on almost 2 acres. It was a big lot. And the bad thing is like whenever we went to sell it, it just rained and rained and rained, and we got like a crazy amount of rain. So I went to sell it, and they did their inspection, and they were like, "Well, the septic field lines drain back into the tank, right?" And which is bad. Like that usually that means like they're clogged or they're not the ground isn't working properly, so it's all going back into the septic tank. So I was like, okay, well, that's not good. So I got someone to go look at it, and long story short, they ended up being able to put a drain curtain around the septic tank, which all that means is like they're diverting water. The water's already drained towards it. They're diverting excess water away from it, basically. But the ground was so saturated there that it was like that house should have never been able to been built in the first place. But it was approved in the 70s though. So the rules were different back then. But like they changed how and the land, the perk rate of how the land absorbs water. So if and there was no public sewer available there. So it's like the only thing you could put is septic, right? But if for some reason that septic system had failed, like legit failed, I would have been screwed. I wouldn't have been able to sell it. So that was pretty scary. Um, there was some other stuff going on during that time. I was like, I got to get out of this house. But luckily, we got out of it. Still made a little bit of money.
Is that the one where you're like, if I break even, I will be so happy? Was that one or no?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that was that one.
Okay.
I needed out of it for more than just that reason though. Those other things going on. Not about the house, just personal stuff. But I was like, I gotta get this house sold. I don't care what it takes. So luckily we got it sold. But other than that, I mean, there hasn't been anything crazy. But there's always some like little small thing that you're like kind of worried about. Like, oh man, hope this goes okay. Or
Yeah.
and like the one like this 4 or 5 houses ago, there was one I did, and this house was awesome. I was like, this is an amazing house. Inspection report comes back, and they're like, the buyers are terminating. I'm like, what are you talking about? This house is awesome. And I get the report, and I'm like, oh dang, I didn't know any of that. Like you don't always know,
Yeah,
It's
it's
like
a house.
there's stuff wrong with it.
And I
So, but the good thing is most things can be fixed.
yeah, yeah.
So,
And I kind of touched on that last podcast where the longer you hold a house, just because it's a house, the more problems that are going to happen because it's a house. But so hearing those stories and from what you've learned from doing however many flips you've done, 15, 20, is there anything that you have learned that's like an immediate red flag, turn off, not going to happen? I'm not touching this house, on to the next one. Because I know you've said you get, I don't know, I don't know, 5, 10 calls a week maybe from wholesalers. What's the ones where you're just like, nope, just pass. Not even gonna give my time on it. Nothing.
well, I usually will always go look at it, no matter what. Usually, um,
Well, I know you
but
said kind of like foundation, the cracks in the brick. Is there anything else that's just like an immediate?
um, like super bad locations. Like one of my this guy I
Uh,
know that talked to me about or taught me a little bit about flipping and is really smart, really successful. He told me never buy a house that's named after a tree. And
named after a tree?
yeah, because here every house, I mean, like we got this like neighborhoods here. It's like Oak
Uh,
Street, Maple Street. Those are like nope, don't go over there. So this is the one you hear the street name and you're like, I'm good. Nope. Um,
hey, what
but
street did you grow up on?
well, Pin Oak,
Oak. That's what I thought.
and it ain't like that, buddy. No, but I think I mean I usually will go look at it unless I look at it and I sometimes wholesalers are just they're asking an astronomical amount of money for that property, and
Yeah.
I'm just like, dude, I get it, but like I ain't buying that. Like I just can't. For me, it doesn't make sense. It might make sense for people with a lot more money than me, but I can't buy it at that price. So I just pass on it. But one of the big things, like honest, I already talked about it, but like if I go to a house and it has foundation issues, I'm not gonna buy it. Like if I know that something's wrong with the foundation, unless it's like you're getting it for like a crazy low price to where worst case scenario you tear that thing down and build a house, then I'm not gonna risk it because it's like there's no point because there's so many other houses out there to buy. especially me, because I'm not buying a ton of houses at a time. I don't need to take that risk right now. There's no point. I could just be patient, buy a different one.
Do you, I know some people do what's called like a golf ball or tennis ball roll where you bring a tennis ball or a golf ball and you put it in the middle and it rolls. Do you do that?
I don't do that, but my one of my mentors does. Well, I don't know if he does it, but he told me he's like you should always bring a marble with you,
Oh,
put it in the middle
marble,
of the
yeah.
room,
Tennis
see which
ball,
way it
golf ball.
rolls.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you did that in here, every house would be like rolling.
I know, I mean in Texas, as you know, I mean under us is practically gump. So every house around here is going to have its slight foundational issues, but it's just expected. Uh,
Yeah, especially a lot of downtown houses here are so old.
yeah.
Like they settle, they're not level. It's like it is what it is sometimes, you know. Like they're not terrible, but they're not gonna be like perfect.
So, all right. So you get past the stage of buying and now you own it. How do you pick your materials? Do you have, like, I remember when I was first watching Flip or Flop, Tarek and Christina would always do what was it, browns and travertine on every single house. Is that you or
Mm. No. So
mix it
honestly,
up?
all right, so here's what I do. And this isn't cool. So I go on I
Make it
Google
seem
like
cool. Make it seem
I
cool.
just go on like Pinterest or Google and I type in like and I do this all the time. Now, even if I don't have a house I'm flipping, I'm always looking and since you're looking, what pops on your Facebook? The same stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I'm always looking like modern farmhouse or mid-century modern or whatever, right? And I'm always just looking at stuff up online, even when I'm not flipping a house all the time. So then on my Facebook is always like the same kind of stuff, like people building these houses. So when I see something I like, I always screenshot it every time. No matter, I did a couple today. I was like, oh, this is cool. Boom, screenshot it, and I'll just save it. And I'll be like, okay, I like that idea. And then when I have a house, sometimes I'll know like, oh, I saw that idea last time. I want to kind of do something like that. So I have an idea in my head what I want to do. And I won't like copy it to a T, but I'll like what I'll do is I'll have like 4 or 5 different ones and I'll like be looking at the pictures and like, oh, I want to do that here, use that here, or like, you know what I mean, incorporate different things.
Yeah.
So none of my ideas that I do, they're not my ideas. They're all stolen from whoever. I don't know. I steal stuff from people all the time, man. And I think that's just me being honest. And I think if you ask those people where they got it from, they probably stole from someone too. Nobody has original ideas. It's all a bunch of crap.
Yeah, I mean, there's only one person who can have the original idea. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
that's it, man. Internet. That's right.
internet. I mean, that's a. Do you have that? I used to have it. It was an app called, I think, House. Was it with a Z? Yeah.
Oh, how's
Yeah.
I'm about to buy that, the pro version of
Oh, the
that.
pro version?
Yeah, because you can do one of my buddies has it, his contracting team has it, and you can do like really cool takeoffs and renderings for customers to be like, hey, this is what your house looks like now, this is what's gonna look like after we do XYZ, and you can show them like different color walls, different ideas, and like
That
do a
app
bunch of
has
cool.
that?
Yeah, and you know what you can do with it? You can take
Wow.
your phone to a house. Like say you're going to look at a house you're buying, you can walk the house with your phone and the app will make the blueprint of the home for you, every room, and turn it into 3D. So then you can go home and be like, okay, this is the house I looked at. What would happen if I knocked out this wall? What would happen? How's the kitchen layout if I do this? Or you can like visualize it a lot better with that
House.
app. Yeah,
House Pro.
yeah, house.
Dude, how much is that? That sounds amazing.
I don't know how much is exactly, but I don't know. I think it's like
How much?
1,200 bucks a year, or
Oh,
so, two
oh
grand a
wow.
year.
On a
It's not
phone?
cheap. No, it's not cheap, but I mean, if your business is using it, it's worth it. Because I mean, a lot of customers, if you're a contractor, they want to see, they're visual people, you know, they want to be like, okay, what's it going to look like? You know, especially the higher end you go, the more expensive customers you get. But yeah, it's a really cool thing, and I'm gonna get it once I It's cute.
HOUZZ Pro Business
Yeah, it should be
Management.
like a green. Yeah, green. You can also do estimates through it, do invoices.
Wow.
It connects to QuickBooks. It's really cool.
That's insane. That's good information. I'm glad we talked.
Yeah, if my microphone goes out,
It just went out. It just went out.
really?
Talk
You're
again.
you're lying.
I'm serious.
Huh?
There, you're back on.
Okay. I'm
What'd
sorry,
you do?
man.
So, okay, so you got your design. Who installs it? Who's doing the tile work? You got a team?
I don't have a team. I have subcontractors. I
I
mean,
mean, but they're your guys. They're reliable.
they're reliable, but they're not like they don't just work for me. They work
Oh
for
yeah,
other.
I mean, no one just works for you when they're that kind of, but
Yeah, they I got people I use and I just found them through trial and error, basically, like using the wrong people and be like,
lots of
okay,
air.
don't use them again. And then you find the good ones and then you keep using them and you don't complain about their prices. You just say, okay, that's fine. Because you know they're gonna do a really good job.
And
And
not give you the stress and headache of not showing up and showing
yeah,
up at
and then if you use them
noon.
enough, they'll give you good. I mean, they'll help you out, they'll give you good prices. They answer the phone when you call. If you use the same people, like I've used my same plumbers now, like these guys are so freaking awesome, man. Like I don't care how much they cost. I'm not using anybody else.
Yeah.
Like they're doing all my plumbing, even on my now, and I use them for flipping. And guess what? On my new construction, they're doing all of it because I know they're legit, and they're ain't nobody else doing my plumbing but them. Period.
Did you want to get into that? Because I didn't think we'd have time, but it looks like we do. But uh, congratulations. Kyle just got approved, what, 2 days ago to actually build his first house.
Oh, I got my loan approved. Yeah, I haven't closed on it yet. Still waiting. But yeah, I am supposed to close on my first lot to build a house, which is exciting and scary at the same time. But I think I know what I'm doing. We'll see. Once I get the foundation laid and it framed up, then I'm there. But between then and there, I'm kind of like, we'll
Is
see.
the loan approved through the same credit union that you've been using, or
It's not a credit union, but yeah, same bank.
oh, that was a credit union.
No, it's a bank, it's a local bank.
Okay, but you said anyone can join, right?
Yeah, I don't. I would assume so. Well, I don't. I mean,
They're the people who gave you the 100% HELOC.
no, that's a different bank.
See, that's a credit
That's a
union.
national bank. That is a credit union.
See, that's the one I need to join.
You can join it, buddy. You don't have to. I'm not a member. Oh, actually, I am a member there, but I don't have any money in the bank. Maybe like $50.
That's insane because I know with credit unions, just because I worked at one for over 5 years, that relationship means so much. And it
Yeah.
sounds like you just have the minimum deposit.
Well, usually it does. So, like the bank I got the that I've been using to flip and everything from, so they were all about the relationship too, and I had to open up a business account with them, and then I had to transfer everything over to them. It was like a huge pain, but that's what they want, right? So you got to do sometimes what they want, and you scratch their back, they'll scratch yours, type thing, which is not a big deal. And that's why I kept using them because they don't always have the best rates. The bank that I use for flipping, but I just use them because I'm like, this is easier. I'm not going shopping around because they may be like a little bit higher or charging me a little bit more, but I'm like, it's not worth me going to another bank and then having to open up another business account, put a little bit of money there, and because I don't have that much money, I can't be like, if I had to do that, I'd be like transferring money all the time. Be annoying.
Yeah. No, I agree. Sometimes, and I've told people this because as a lender, sometimes let's just say I'll have a 6%, and then they go online and they'll call someone that has a 5.75%, right? But it's this company that based out of, let's just say, Washington. And I'm like, is saving 25, $30 a month really worth having to wait on hold for 30 minutes to get anything fixed that will probably happen? Or is it better to spend that $30 a month and I'm right up the road, I'm 3 minutes away from you. You can always come see my face. You can always call my cell phone or text my cell phone and I'll be right there for you. So I completely agree with that. Sometimes it's just better to stick with it, take the cut, I mean take the loss and deal with it just because of the ease. Because I mean that's what it's here for these days, right? The ease, the convenience. So
Yeah, and the relationship too.
yeah.
You know, just yeah, like you said, being able to call and answer, being able to, when you talk to them multiple times, they know about you, they know about your life, they know. And my banker knows my kid's name. He knows I'm having a kid. He knows about me, and he cares. Like I mean, I don't know that he actually truly cares, but he pretends to care. So probably does. But I'm like,
what a good salesman.
you know what I mean? It's like whatever, man. Like,
Yeah.
but and another reason the bank I'm with, they the only people. Whenever I was first starting out, no experience, didn't know what I was doing, no money. They're the only bank that was like, okay, I'll give you a shot. Same guy. So that's why I stuck with him, because he bet on me when nobody bet on me. He bet on me, so that's why I stick with him. I'm
Nice.
big on loyalty, and I'm gonna keep sticking with him unless they go crazy. Like I don't have a reason to shop around right now. Maybe I will once I start, because I want to start getting some houses to keep. That will probably force me to shop around, but I don't know. I
Well,
just want to stay with him.
we got about 5 minutes. I think this is our last podcast on the interviews and flipping and the starting and the introduction of you and I. Is there anything else you want to throw out there for any newbies that are trying to get in the game?
Hmm. Put me on
Think
the
about it.
spot like that one. I don't know.
Think about it.
How about you? What you got?
Well, what I say, like I said last podcast, it takes a lot of guts. It really does. Um, you just got to go out and do it. And if it doesn't work out, try it again. Because there's a lot of people in your area, just your immediate area. I mean, Baytown, Mont Belvieu, Houston. I mean, there's hundreds, if not thousands, of people doing it. So if it doesn't work out your first time, keep trying. Um, just keep going. And I know it sounds super cliche, it really does, but just keep going. I've even done a mobile home flip, so there's
Yeah,
properties out there. If you're looking, it'll pop up. I think you did a mobile home one time or no?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
Did not.
you might get out of your comfort zone. And I FaceTime Kyle like what 3 weeks ago. I was trying to buy a mobile home. We couldn't make the numbers work, but I mean, stuff's out there. You just got to find it. And as Kyle said on the first or second podcast, go join real estate groups. Just go have that dinner where you don't know anyone, but it just happened to work out that you got a deal from that guy and many mentors that have made you a lot of money just because you got enough cojones to go over there and have a dinner with nobody you knew at all. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think I would say, to sum it up real quick, if I had to give advice, get out of your comfort zone, go talk to people doing what you want to do. And then I would say, go find a deal, look for deals, start looking. When I started looking, it's crazy how many deals you find. Like you will find a deal once you start looking, period. You'll find a way. The first guy I had lunch with, when I was trying to get into it, I felt so awkward because he gave me his phone number, and the next day I sent him like 5 deals that I thought were deals, but they weren't. But I thought they were. And I was like, he probably thought I was so dumb texting this guy. But he responded. He wasn't like he was ignoring me. He's like, look further into this one or whatever. But the biggest thing is just start taking action into the area that you want to go into. Period. Don't quit your job if you don't have any money. Keep working, but take action while you're working. I was in the Navy, supposed to be making phone calls to people to join, and I was like Googling houses, and just start taking some action, moving towards your goal.
Do you want
Period.
to do you want to Grant Cardone with take massive action?
Oh yeah, read Grant Cardone 10x. Yeah, good book. Hey guys, I mean he's
No, I'm not actually
hard.
a
It's
fan
hard.
of
He's
that guy.
massively successful. Obviously, he's super smart. But man, that guy's a beast. Sometimes I feel like I'm just not capable of doing that. I don't know.
You want to know why? Because you actually enjoy spending time with your family.
I think so. Yeah, I think that's or enjoy just not working all the time. Like if you went out and you 10 times everything you do right now, you probably would have like crazy results, like insane results. But you would also sacrifice. So it's a give and take, I don't know. Maybe it's worth it. I mean, I guarantee you, if you talk about Grant Cardone, probably owns a few yachts, Blake.
That's
He
okay with me.
owns them.
That's okay with me.
He does whatever he wants now, but he probably didn't when he was our age. He's probably working really, really hard. So it's just give and take how you want your life to look like. I don't want to sacrifice parts of my life right now to have that later. Some of it I will, but I feel that's just like a balance. I don't need to be a B. I just want to be an M. You know what I'm saying?
One M or a couple?
A couple would be good, but I don't need to be a B. That's for sure.
Real
M,
hard to get up there.
nah, I'm good. Ain't no B.
Yeah,
Give me a couple M's. Give me like a double digit M. I'll be good.
pretty good
I'll be
M's.
good. That's it.
So
All
to
right,
sum
real
it up,
estate never stays. We're out, boys. Catch you on episode number. What are we on? 6?
5. We're on
Next
5.
would be 6, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, catch you on episode 6. Peace.
Hey, hold on. Let's give them a little preview. So
Oh,
episode 6, as I said, we're done talking about flips and all that. When are we bringing the guest on?
man, that's a good question. I need
7?
to get a schedule. So I really, Blake, I don't want to bring him on to get the office because I want him to come in and be legit.
So the office will be done in 2 weeks.
Yes. 2
Will,
weeks.
will it be done in 2 weeks?
Yes. It
Okay.
will be. It should be done. It should be podcast ready in the next week. But
Every,
the ceiling might not be in, so I'll just adjust the camera where you can't
yeah,
see
they
it.
won't see the ceiling. Look, I don't have a ceiling.
Yeah. But it'll be pretty close by then.
Okay. So episode 7, we're gonna start bringing guests on. You got one more week of just me and boring Kyle.
Well, it's also I got to all right. I got to fill the schedule. I got to make sure they're in town and stuff.
I'll fill them up too. You let me know. I can take first guest, or you can take first guest.
I
We'll
think
talk about that.
whoever schedules it first, boom, make it
All
happen.
right, buddy. It's been real fun. I hope y'all enjoyed watching. We'll talk to y'all next week. Thank you so much.
Peace.